Pastel Painting Friday. So today we are going to do a Bouguereau study. And yes, I'm mispronouncing Bouguereau. But anyway, the image is on the top left for you, though I may shrink it slightly as it's kind of bothering me. So I'll shrink it a little bit. We're using soft pastels, Rembrandt brand. If you are interested in the same pastels that I'm using, there's Amazon links in the description box for you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by massing as much pastel as I can where the face is going to eventually fit. And then after I'm done with all this massing, I will start to draw with lines. So we're working on mixed media paper. Again, it's in the description box of the video. I like it because it works well with both the soft pastel and the oil pastel. I chose not to use the oil pastel for this one because the Bouguereau, I think, is going to require more subtlety than what I can do with the oil pastel. So that's why I'm choosing the soft pastel. And let me know if you can hear me and see everything all right. There is kind of a blizzard, like a blizzard-like storm going on outside over here. So I'm not sure if that's going to affect the internet at all. So just let me know if you can. Just let me know if you can hear me and everything coming out all right. Thank you, Giselle. Happy New Year to you as well. Happy New Year's, happy holidays to everyone. We are back. New year. Same old us. But yeah, let me know how your holidays went, everybody. Sure, you're happy. Most of us are happy that 2024 is gone. Though we are now a quarter of the way through the century. Isn't that something? Quite a workout to do all this massing. You get to move your arms around a lot. Now, obviously, I'm going to vignette this somewhat, but not quite at the point where I'm going to do that yet. I have a much more limited palette with these soft pastels than with the oil pastels, just because it's easier to mix with these, in my opinion. Alright, let's put in our first little estimates of where the features are going to fit. This is the same bluish paper. It's the same. Maybe it's just there is a snowstorm out there, so could be affecting the colors. Could be affecting it a little bit. Lucy's on her way home from work, so hopefully she'll be safe. I prefer this kind of bluish tone, bluish gray is what this is. Just a rough estimate of where the eyes are gonna fit. I am gonna probably ghost this out once I get enough pastel on the surface. Starting a Bouguereau like this is quite scary. There's a lot of subtlety involved in any Bouguereau painting. Hey Cal. Thank you, thank you. There's a lot of fun in this kind of freedom. You don't gotta think too much. Everything is just kind of adaptable. Easy to move, easy to blend. All around fun to work this way. Pastel is quickly turning into one of my favorite materials to work with. Because you could start like this. I mean, it could be quite frightening to the uninitiated pastel artists out there. He wrote, "Hi in Silu." What is that? Add some pink early on. Like I said, we're just loading the paper with pastel right now. Okay, now we can start to put more specificity. First thing I'm going to do is lock in these shadows. Well, we got through that stage pretty fast. I like using this kind of nub, I guess, like chopped up little piece of pastel. always say this way of working looks scary in the beginning. And it's just psychological, that fear of the unfinished face look. So don't let it bother you. Yeah, oil pastels do work differently, yeah. It is, in my opinion, it's a little bit easier to mix with the soft. And it's also easier to add more detail when you get into the subtlety. Like I'm already thinking like many steps ahead of where this is currently at. So how was everyone's New Year? Everyone's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whichever holiday you celebrated. And of course, I know the nose is going to have to get longer. So don't worry about it. All that loose drawing stuff in the beginning. So lots of mixing in this stage. You said you're still getting over that same illness I had. Oh no. Yeah, whatever that was intense. That was like a good 3 weeks. Not a good 3 weeks, but like a really bad 3 weeks. It was tough. I'm sorry that you're under the weather. Whether you use soft pastel or oil pastel, there's still a nice kind of physicality to working with these materials. They're very hands-on, obviously, so that's kind of a nice thing. Crazy. There was like a blizzard and now it's just lots of sunlight. Looks like nothing happened. Crazy. It was painted a long time ago. Bouguereau. I had to copy and paste the name because I always misspell it. I put it on the title of the video. His paintings are very, very detailed. His large figurative paintings, narrative paintings are like they seem almost superhuman. And these days, unfortunately, they're going to seem like they were done by an AI. But he's excellent to study when it comes to subtlety. If you want to improve your subtlety, he was very motivated and influenced by sculpture, like Greek sculpture and stuff like that. No. Solar activity is high. Interesting. Yeah, very much into planes. Yeah, definitely. He did several studies before doing a finished painting. He's basically like the straight A student of the painting world. The only thing is, I don't, if I'm gonna be honest, I really don't like his portraiture that much. Just because I don't really like that much rendering on a face. Even in some Nelson Shanks, you'll see that it's still quite kind of loose as you look closer into the paintings. And Rembrandt's obviously an excellent example of that. Yeah, very 3D thinking, yeah. Yeah, too perfect, maybe, perhaps, yeah. I like a little bit of ambiguity in painting. appreciate all the likes, everyone. Now, in starting the streams back for the new year, I do have some questions for everyone. And one of them in particular is I'll just make a post about it or something, but it seems like acrylic is the least popular. And watercolor somehow did kind of well. And I am noticing that watercolor has some more advantages, so I may end up swapping the acrylic for watercolor on Thursday, and maybe on Tuesday do something different. But I'll create a post about that. I did notice a lot of people like Pastel as well. So Pastel is not going anywhere. Pastel is going to remain. And to be honest, this is, like I said before, probably one of my favorite materials to work with, especially in apartment living. You know, this Pastel isn't going to get, like any kind of toxicity in the air. I mean, other than the pigment flying around. But I mean, it's not so bad. Nothing flammable here. So it's perfect for apartment living artists. My fellow apartment dwellers. Yeah, I get that. Lifelike, though, not like a painting. We're talking about the Bouguereau style. The question is, have you ever heard the song Vincent by McLean about Vincent van Gogh? No, I haven't. I have not. So it's a sad song. I can check it out. So using the dark of the hair that we masked in earlier to create a brownish green as this pushes up, and then we're going to add more light to the forehead. You can see this is very malleable. And like I said, it's pretty easy to mix. You could go check mark, plus, I don't know, put the division sign, like do zigzag, whatever. You can add whatever kind of mark making you want and still mix with it. It's quite fun to work with. So for example, you can blend into this quite easily. Put a question mark here, right? Adds more pastel. Just go in, blend right into it. It's that malleable. Again, when you get to the eyes, that's always tricky territory. The best thing to do is to simplify it, and as much as you can, try not to think about the fact that this is human. The more experience you have, the less things like that are going to bother you. To remain objective, so you wrote, of course, yeah. So don't think about it as a face in order to remain objective. Yes, yes, exactly. So if you start thinking about it like a human face, that's why I always tell people to avoid, whenever possible, avoid painting people that you know, because it puts an unnecessary pressure in your mind, because then your mind is somewhere else. thinking too much about likeness is going to be a burden. Likeness is the confirmation of an accurate drawing, and you want to be able to find form with freedom. These are all quotes from my teachers from way back in the past. Let the likeness just happen on its own as much as you can. Now, obviously, if it's an important commission, if I were to give you one important piece of advice with a commission or somebody that wants a photographic looking painting, trace it, project it, do something like that. Don't waste your time trying to recreate the photograph that way. You said you read into what you're drawing. Yeah, sometimes turning the canvas upside down helps, of course. I agree. Taking a break as well. Well, good. Yeah, trying not to copy it. It's a natural tendency though to like want to perfectly, get the likeness and stuff like that too early. But it's great that you said you're new to all this and you're already thinking that way about not copying. That's awesome. I always say keep your shapes simple and easy such that when the time comes to make changes, yada yada yada, you know the rest. Changes are simple and easy to manage. That's why I prefer kind of this looser start. That's one of the things I don't like about acrylic. I'm kind of roasting acrylic for unnecessary reasons today. But with something like watercolor, you can work into it. Even 20 minutes after putting that one layer down, just like you can with oil paint and obviously with pastel. It's incredibly different with watercolor. With acrylic. Grids, yeah, to some extent, yeah, grids can help. But again, it's a lot of trouble to go through to make a grid. In the first project that I have students do, one of the first ones, you have options, but one of the first ones you do make a grid to do a site-size Rembrandt. Finally, this is the kind of surface textures that I want. Yeah, more malleable. Exactly. And it's my opinion that things should be fluid, kind of in motion within your control, with a little air of, say, lack of control sometimes, in the sense that, sometimes the mouth is going to be too far to the left or to the right, but you can always adjust it in comparison to other things. Drawing is all about relating shapes to one another, and in a sense, it's kind of all about communication between one form and another form. Just like basically everything in life is about communication and relating things to one another. That's why it's good to have good communication skills. Don't just mumble your way through life. Sometimes some students can get too into this stage where everything is just kind of all over the place and they never really like anchor down. You'll see that we'll anchor down eventually. But even as we anchor down and add more realism, there's still gonna always be a sense of like fluidity to the motion of your arm, decision making. Yeah, there are a lot of sirens. There was a storm, a snowstorm, and I think I actually heard an accident earlier. I don't know what, like an hour ago. So yeah, there was a snowstorm. It's still going too. It's crazy. Yeah, for being 14 floors up, it is loud. It is loud out there. I wear my earbuds whenever I walk outside. It's just too loud. That's one thing I'm not quite a big fan of in terms of city life is it's loud. Hey Jonas, welcome. I'll leave it to Bouguereau to have the most complicated shadows. This, by the way, or I should say that, is most likely daylight that I used, north light. Yeah, I'll end up vignetting this bottom part. Let it be loose. Now the eyebrows are more flat and the value for the eye sockets is in general darker. So let's go ahead and attack those subtle things now. But again, we're finding form with freedom. Freedom. And the cheeks need to get lighter and a tad bit more red on the side. Yellow ochre. Blend that in, get slightly orangey, push this shape in so it doesn't look like she was in an MMA fight. And we'll soften the edge a little bit so it doesn't look like it's sharp photograph type look. Adjust the corner for the chin. Which will shrink the chin. Like I said, it's all malleable, but even at this stage where it starts to get more subtle, we're still able to be really loose with it. Go over the dark before it starts to look like she's got a beard. Which again, nothing wrong with that. She has a beard. She has a beard. It's totally fine. But, of course, Bouguereau didn't paint that. Only other pastel artist you saw did it patchy. It's up to you, however you want to work. I think it's just a little bit more fun to go in with big planes. This way, of course, there's going to be a lot of texture. Which is one of the things I like the most about pastel is the texture. I'm just taking a second to sit back. We got about 10 minutes till the break. So that's kind of perfect timing. Usually when we start the next part, we start off by entering the subtleties. which is where we're at, basically. This is what I mean by malleable. I can push that eyebrow down with mass. And this is a fun kind of puzzle in a way, where you have to like basically deduce what's different from yours versus the original. Also, what form you want to bring out into the light, what forms you want to subdue. Yeah, I can't imagine how loud it is in the lower floors. So you got about 5 minutes, so feel free to ask any questions you have. And throughout the entire stream, you can ask any questions that you have. When we enter into a new stage, it always introduces another awkward stage. Now that we're adding some form, it's going to increase some of the awkwardness. I don't know what the white headdress is for, I'm not sure. Hey Mark L, welcome, welcome. No worries about being late. I did post this stream not that long ago, like an hour before starting. And of course we were out for the holidays. So yeah, it's totally understandable. It's all good. Now in the subtleties stage with soft pastels, you have to mix smaller planes as you go. Each little change that you do is just the same as how you started, but on a much smaller scale. So you're still mixing as you go, but it's much, much smaller. And because these pastels they're not long, it forces you to be up and close on the painting, which is something you want to try to avoid. Try to always keep some distance. Got 2 minutes. More ethereal, now looking more realistic. It's still kind of in the early stages. Still kind of. Of course, things like the angle of the mouth, right? Like these are more obvious things that can be adjusted right away to make it more realistic. And like that has to move up to there. This nostril needs to be over here. Things like that. But this is not an easy study to do, you'll find. Anything Bouguereau is a challenge for sure. Yeah, the model probably is no more than say like 18 years old, or no older than 18 probably. But of course, Bouguereau, he, like all painters, probably edited from reality. Most definitely edit from reality. So when we return from the break, and don't worry, during the break I'll play a video for you to watch. It's just a sample footage that'll probably be silent. Sample footage of my Patreon. When we'll return, we'll start to round things out and, of course, adjust the drawing as we go. Yeah, in the drawing, yeah, of course, certain planes, like, let's say here, 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 is still not developed yet, but we'll get there. All right, so it's been about an hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a break for a couple minutes, and I will play a silent video of some painting footage from my Patreon. So I'm going to take a break and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere unless you absolutely have to. And I'll return in just about 5 minutes or so. All right, it's been about 5 minutes. So what do you say we return to this painting here? I'm not going to worry too much about the stuff surrounding the face. What we're going to do now is isolate the structure of the face and start to add more form as we go along. Like so, yeah, I could see that. I think I remember a similar painting like that. Thanks, Barry. Alright, so first thing I'm gonna do is pick an area to develop even further, and I got options here. I could start off with the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. I'm gonna use this eye, so we're gonna develop this eye to nearly a finish. Maybe not so finished like the Bouguereau, but the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna close up the planes. So we're gonna, by closing it, I mean I'm going to add the remaining values. So for example, say right now we've got three values, and we'll close it up with maybe about like 5 or 6. But as we do that, as I'm doing there, we're going to soften some edges and basically steer the painting into more detail. So flatten that out. I'm going to go in with the yellow ochre to add this light. So what we're doing is we're working general to specific. Now things are getting more specific. And it's just my opinion that it should be more loose, even at this stage. I think it just makes it more fun. But it does tighten up. It does tighten up in the sense that I'm not talking as much. Not a lot is changing in a kind of a short period of time. There's a little bit more of the sclera showing, which is going to be tough to do. You see how this is kind of not the most precise thing in the world. So, a bit of a challenge. What you do to one side, you want to do to the other, especially when it has to do with symmetry. So this form is starting to close up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different planes there and value transitions. You get faster at this, you get more efficient with more experience. In the beginning, it does take a while. Thanks, Jonas. Mark? I said on a scale of difficulty, 10 being the most difficult, this is a 10 in terms of difficulty. And that's because it's a Bouguereau, it's a very subtle painting, nearly frontal. So when doing this study, give yourself some more leeway, I guess. Don't be so tough on yourself. This one is probably the most difficult of all the pastels that I've done. So you can see its development is much slower. I'm a little bit more tactical about approaching the form on that eye. Yeah, it is getting darker, you're right. The daylight's gone. Thanks for pointing that out. I'm going to change the light sensitivity. The sun has set. When we started, it was really bright outside. You could probably notice it over there, so let me adjust that. So hopefully that's better in terms of the brightness. Sunlight is now gone. Daylight is gone. Yeah, there's more pink on the forehead. Subtleties must go on. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, we're almost there. Just a little softer around the eyebrow, and that should be it for this eye. Aye, aye, Captain. I can't hear you. Alright, so that's about good for that eye. Tear duct might still need some work, but like I said, mostly to a finish, but not entirely. It's a little bit more difficult because these don't have that fine of a point to do these subtleties. And I find it's kind of a waste to sharpen them, 'cause then you just lose all of that pastel. Alright, so that eye is okay for now. I'm gonna move. I could keep working on it, but I'm gonna move on to the other one. We're closing up the form on this eye. Seems like we did more with this one earlier today. Highlight on the lower eyelid, again, bit of a challenge because these are dull. Alright, so that should be good with that. Let's add a darker valley for the eyebrow. Hence that Bouguereau look. Okay, so now we can venture off from the eyes down to the nose, where things are going to really start to change. Before tackling on the nose, I'm going to relate the surrounding shapes in terms of the position, and it definitely needs to change. Sorry for the excess noise and the cars going off and the sirens, which is why I have this. Actually, I have a theme song, though I'm not going to play it because I haven't tested it yet. So I may do some streams just silent in the future, just to try it out, see if you would prefer that. But I do have different ideas for upcoming streams. So I'm going to work the surrounding outside shape first, before getting into the nose or the mouth. The eyes are kind of like the headquarters relative to the outside shape, and the outside shape is kind of like the headquarters of the nose and the mouth. The mouth is the easiest thing to draw, and it's the easiest thing to move around, and it's the easiest thing to mess up. So the mouth, almost forget it. In terms of the lips, forget it. Don't worry about it. Focus on the stuff around the lips. Oh, thanks, Giselle. So outside shape first, then work in towards the nose and the mouth. I wouldn't want to base the outside shape off of the nose and the mouth too much. And you would do much of the same thing if this was just a pencil drawing. Pushing the face forward? You mean like trying to make it look more dimensional, or what do you mean by pushing the face forward? Now we could have started this painting off this way with this careful little drawing and then fill in the blanks, but it's just not that much fun to me personally. I never want to be too perfect with it either. Because in the past, they used to say it looks just like a photograph, and now they're going to say it looks just like an AI. All the more reason to not be too perfect with it. Oh, you mean emerging from the background? Okay, so yeah, similar kind of thing to what I was saying. Yeah, it will make it look like it's popping out more once there's more volume in, for sure. For sure, for sure. Okay, so now I think that the outside shape is good enough. Of course, background wise, yeah, this is gonna cut in. I don't want to get too specific with that yet. Oh, thanks, Giselle. Yeah, they're close, but of course, in a portrait, close could not even be remotely uh, accurate. But it's okay. We're gonna move the shapes around. The important thing right now is the drawing. The neck is a little higher up. This part's tricky, so be careful with it. This little straight line, well, it's angled this way, but this shape. It's good to not be concerned with the photographic copy. It's also darker down here, more yellow. Okay, so that, like I said, it's not gonna be perfect like this. It's not gonna be perfect. The outside shape's not gonna be perfect. But it's kind of like an order of operations. Outside shape, planes, eyes. Then you go into, when you enter subtleties, start off with whatever you want, but I start off here and then start to pull everything around here more subtle. Then work my way back towards into the nose and towards the mouth. So let's go ahead and do that now. First thing with the nose is going to be the light. And thank you all so much for the likes. We've got 25. It's a lot of likes. Somebody is definitely getting towed out there. You could probably hear it. So whenever you see a sliver of the wing of the nose, this is what I like to do. Just overdo the dark, like this. And then add light into that, like that. And that creates that little gap that you need for the light of the wing of the nose there. Now, of course, on the side of the nose, the side of the nose is going to be just as important. This is the side plane of the nose, which leads us towards the maxilla. This is going to give us the cheeks, which will add the age. I like to overdo this at first and then add subtlety into it. And this is where it's going to take a lot of patience because it's not going to be right the first time. Again, the more experience you have, the less attempts it's going to take. Talent is meaningless. Like the whole idea of like someone just being able to figure things out faster than someone else. Sure, time is a thing, but like hard work and determination is what eventually is going to be the winner. Perseverance, persistence. So also being open-minded to different ideas. Before, just I don't know, just like a year ago, I only did oil painting videos. I basically only did oil painting. And now we've got pastel, watercolor, acrylic, though acrylic is questionable. I do find that watercolor might be better than acrylic for portraiture. Now, as usual, I have the mouth too far down. That tends to be one of my usual mistakes. So it's quite easy to adjust the lips. Just move them up. relate the bottom middle of the nose to the top middle of the upper lips. But in the beginning, it's pretty much like throwing darts. And then you kind of figure out, oh, okay, this is where it really needs to go. Have a Happy New Year's. Happy New Year as well, Jonas. Again, thanks everyone for the likes. We're gonna move the lower lip up. And it's nice to have a carpet underneath of you when you work with pastels, because I just dropped this and it didn't break. Just make sure to vacuum regularly. So any New Year's resolutions? Tell you what I want is to do more YouTube for you. And for me, of course. I do enjoy my work. I would also like to improve on my painting skills. And if you've never done one of these master studies, they are one of the best ways to quickly improve on your skills. Bottom middle of the nose related to the top middle of the upper lip, and the bottom middle of the lower lip. 1, 2, 3. Focus on these pieces. 1, 2, and 3. The others, they're just attached basically to this in terms of drawing. How many times have I joined this particular portrait? You mean studied this one? I have no clue how many times, but definitely more than 3. I mean, you mean for this study? I did one watercolor sketch with Randy, one of my students. It's taped behind this, so I can't move this because I'm gonna use this footage for a time lapse. So I can't move. Plus, there's not much to see to it anyway. It looked just like what this painting looked like in the first 20 minutes. But I did do a trial run. A little bit of practice. This is actually a light green, quite useful for these skin tones. mixing the black and the yellow ochre creates an orange on top of the value that, or color that was already there. Makes it kind of a brownish. But I have to go over it a couple times to get it just right. You can expedite the time it takes for you to do this if you have more colors. I don't, because I'm a cheapskate. So I only have few colors with soft pastels. With the oil pastels I bought more. They're harder to mix. I wouldn't dare have tried this with the oil pastels, although maybe I could have. It's a trap to focus too much on the lips, but just enough to suggest them is good. Obviously here this is starting to glare. That's why it looks light to you. It is really important that you use the right paper for this. So if I had used, say, the wrong paper would have been like a sketch paper. It wouldn't have enough strength basically to take on the pastel. It wouldn't have sustained this many layers. Same goes with watercolor. Of course, I need to upgrade my paper yet again. I'm probably going to order that paper tonight. And we were talking about ways to ship pastels, how to ship them out to, you know, like through UPS or whatever. And someone mentioned some type of paper that I can put in front of it that's like a glass to protect it. I forgot what it is. I was supposed to screenshot that comment and I didn't. I would eventually like to sell the pastels as well, once I figure out how to ship them. I might send the first one with like a pretty big discount to whoever wants to be the first person to to receive a pastel from me. Glassine. Okay, glassine. Glassine. Okay, now we can start to work on the background a little bit, because obviously it's starting to get distracting. So first thing is first, stand back. Of course, I'm just gonna sit back. Figure it out for yourself just by moving your eyes back and forth between what you're painting and your painting. Glassine is a smooth and glossy paper. Oh, it has different densities. Wow. Good question. Yeah, which density provides better protection? I would think it's the higher density, but I could be wrong. I don't know. All I can do is guess. think the background does add something. Even if it's just a little something, it adds something. It's made from wood pulp. Oh. And this is the part that will be left to vignette. I don't like how these shapes meet perfectly in the painting, so I'll edit it. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours. So now we're going to go ahead and take another break. So I will play that video once again for you that I played during the break last time. Remember that the audio is going to be silent. You won't hear any audio. It will be just about 5 minutes or so, the break time. So once again, don't go anywhere unless you absolutely have to. And we'll be back in just about 5 minutes. Alrighty then, it's been about 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and finish this Bouguereau study up. Of course, there's a lot of things that are going to be left different than the original, but that's okay. Yeah, it probably won't take any longer than 30 minutes, I think, to finish this, at least to the level that I wanted to finish it. So what I'm going to do from here is work on the same stuff, the subtleties, but now all around. So basically just touch-ups all around. Anything that appears too different, I will attack as soon as I can. So yeah, I could do that. Try shipping out a pastel using the glassine. See how it arrives. So this way of working is a lot faster than just drawing it and filling it in, though there are more risks with it in terms of drawing. Like I said, some students kind of get too much into the massing and don't really get into the subtleties. So it's important to have a balance. And yeah, if you can sacrifice some pastel pieces to have a sharper point, that would definitely help with this. Of course, in the past I've used like a brush to move this stuff around. And thanks for all the likes. We're at 33. That is quite a lot. Oh, John George Brown, an artist during a contemporary to Bouguereau. Gotta check that one out. Yeah, it's real difficult to get this edge of the eye. It's because I don't have a point. My pastel is pointless. Let's use a brush. Seems similar to Bouguereau. Huh. Maybe they went to the École de Beaux-Arts together. I think that's where Bouguereau went. I don't think I'll put the jewelry in there though. It wouldn't take that much time to do it. It does kind of add something, doesn't it? Yeah, let's do it. With jewelry, I like to start with the shadows first. At least if they're like pearls. Bouguereau tends to add a lot of pearls, so start with that. At the bottom side of the pearls. The bottom of the pearls. The side highlight of the bottom. Then pretty much add the lights. Highlights. A bit of red, just for some pearl looking effects. Why not? Adds a little something to it. Always be careful with eyebrows not to put a dark line. Of course it starts like that, but make it subtle. Add some soft edges around it. Now, in terms of likeness, obviously the Bouguereau nose is a lot longer, and some of her neck is showing here. But these are things I'm not going to concern myself with, and I don't think you should either. But if it does concern, always a little hint of light goes a long way. So once again, I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday and New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. Hopefully everyone was safe. So we'll return to our live streams. Like I said, acrylic is a little questionable to me. The acrylic Thursday. May just swap it with watercolor, but I'll see what you think. Reason being is that I found that acrylic is the most different in terms of the handling, and for me it's kind of difficult switching between acrylic and all of these other materials. It just so has it that I would say acrylic is actually more difficult than watercolor, but we'll see. More on that at a later time. And remember, this Bouguereau, this one is one of the most difficult. It's a 10 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. So when you take this one on, give yourself some time to do it. Don't try to do it in the 2 hours and 20 something minutes that this video will be. No worries, Markel. We're about to sign out soon too. Have a good night. Have a good night. Thanks for joining. These little last minute touch-ups. And then you will be able to recreate this study along with me as a pre-recorded video. Yeah, definitely you have to pre-mix ahead of time with acrylic. It's very different. Although we did do one Bouguereau acrylic a while ago that actually kind of worked, but it was mostly monochrome. Glad you like the chain. Just wearing a chain. I should put a $sign on it to make it seem like one of those 90s chains. Alrighty, I think we're almost there. I'm just going to stand up and look at it from a distance, which I always recommend you do, though you won't actually see me stand up. Not too bad for one of the most difficult portrait studies you could ever do, especially with the material that I'm not quite that familiar with yet, which is pastel. It would be a very expensive gold beaded necklace, yeah, it would. Although Bouguereau could have easily made it up, so can't really know for sure. But that should be, I guess that should be about it. Of course, there's a lot of things that are different. but that's the whole point, so you don't have to copy it down. Here, I'll just change one little thing, pull that in a little more, maybe soften it with a brush. Yeah, not much more than that. So that should be about it. I'll see if there are any last minute questions. So we did this in about 2 hours and 28 minutes. So basically 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. You too can do your own Bouguereau. You too can be a hero. Do your own Bouguereau study. Alrighty then. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember, the schedule for Pastel Fridays is 4:00 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and the paintings take at most 3 hours, but usually not 3 hours these days. We got oil painting on Wednesday. Acrylic was on Thursday, but I'll let you know, because I might end up swapping that out with watercolor. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the likes too. We made it to 35 likes. Thank you so much. Remember, this will be available for you to watch as a pre-recorded video on YouTube as soon as the stream ends. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.